The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to begin in about 5 minutes, give everybody else a chance to get in here. And in the meantime, I've got Josh Nelson, the presenter, on the line with us. And you're welcome to ask him questions through the question box down. You'll see it on probably the right-hand side of your screen. You can go in and ask a question, and then that'll pop up, and he can respond to that. If you've got anything prior to the session, you're welcome to ask that, and then we'll begin in about 5 minutes.
Hey guys, glad to see that you guys are, a lot of us on the call today. I'm excited about that. Vince, I see your question. It was just a test, I guess, but the question box does work. So thanks for asking that question. Just going to close it for now. That way it can be open for other questions. Hey, those of you that can hear me and that are in front of a computer, just so I can get a sense of where you guys are coming from, if you could just post in the question or chat box what part of the country you're from, just so we can make sure the chat and text question section's working. Okay, we got Kenny from Boise, welcome. Kirsten from Central Ohio. Greg from Denver. Timothy from Belleville, Illinois. Jessica from Indianapolis. Norm from Phoenix. Vince, Vancouver. All right, great. Thank you guys for doing that. I really appreciate it. And we've got some great information I'm going to be covering. Oh, we got Liz from Oregon. Welcome, Liz. Lauren from the northwest suburbs of, I can't see the whole thing. Sorry, Lauren. If you guys have, obviously you're spending your valuable time to be on this webinar because you want to learn and you want to grow your business. If you could post what would be the number one thing you'd like to get out of today's webinar, that way I can make sure I've got a pretty concise presentation put together, but I can definitely make sure I cover what you guys want to get most out of this presentation. So if anybody wants to pop their thoughts in there, I'd really appreciate it. For those of you that are just joining us, we'll be starting the webinar in a couple of minutes. Just give a few more people the opportunity to get in. Kristen, thank you very much for posting your question. You want to increase organic web rankings. All right, you're on the right webinar. That's exactly what we're going to be covering. Anybody else? Anybody else want to chime in? They'd like to get? All right. Timothy, how to convert interactions into sales via social media. Okay, that's a great one. Interactions into sales via social media. This is, as you can see on the screen, this is part of the QSC Internet Marketing Series. The previous, or the first session was actually on maps optimization, getting ranked in the maps. So we went deep into that. The next session is going to be all about social media and how you can leverage Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and LinkedIn. How you can connect with your customers on a deeper level and get more repeat and referral business. So I'll try and cover some of that on this, but we'll definitely be going deep into that topic when we run the next session in January. Okay, so Kenny, add more presence and reduce overall costs of advertising. Okay, I mean, I'll talk a little bit about that. There's been a transition from offline to online, so if you're still spending a lot of money in the yellow pages and print, you could probably reduce your expense and get a better return by effectively advertising online. So we can talk a little bit about that. But that's perfect. I really appreciate you guys chiming in and kind of sharing with me what you want to get out of it. I'll make sure I go deep into these topics. Charlie, do you think it's good to start, or should we give a few more minutes?
No, I think we probably should. There'll be some more coming in, but I am recording this, or I'm attempting to, so it'll be available to everyone afterwards also. At this point, let me again introduce Josh Nelson with Plumber SEO. They are an industry partner of QSC, Quality Service Contractors. I'm Charlie Wallace. I run Quality Service Contractors, and this is a second in a series with Josh that we're doing. We'll have a couple more, one in January and one next February. But if you have questions, again, put them in the question box. Just type them in there, and we'll get to those at various points throughout the webinar. And then at the end, we will be opening it up for Q&A afterwards. So sit back, enjoy it, and participate. Josh, it's all yours.
Excellent. Thanks, Charlie. And thank you all for attending. I'd really like to see so many people on a webinar like this. I'm excited to be sharing how you guys can really get your plumbing or HVAC business ranked in the organic non-paid listings on Google and Yahoo and Bing. And I appreciate those of you that have already posted comments and questions. One of the beautiful things about an interactive webinar is that we're live. So you're on this. If you're in front of the computer and you've got a question, I will do my best to make time to answer these questions, and I'll be available after the presentation as well to answer any additional questions that you have. So I just want to start by asking, have you ever wondered what it would be like to dominate the search engines for your plumbing-related keywords in your area? Have you ever wondered what it would be like to have a flood of prospects coming into your business on a consistent basis that found you online? And have you ever wondered what it would be like to know that your marketing strategy was working so you didn't have to worry and you didn't have to try and read all the books and try to keep up the speed? Well, how many of you would like me to share a proven strategy for dominating the search engines in your area? And how many of you would like a strategy to make more money in your business? And how many of you would like for me to show you a way to get your phone ringing off the hook day after day with people that are looking for your services in your area? Now, I'd imagine you all said yes because you're on this webinar and that's exactly what you're looking for. Well, you're about to discover throughout this presentation and throughout this webinar how you can get your plumbing business ranked on page 1 for the most important plumbing-related keywords in your area. You're going to learn the most commonly searched plumbing and HVAC-related keywords because you need to know what the keywords are that people are typing so that you can optimize your site for those. You're going to learn how to optimize your website so that Google will add you to the index for the right keywords. And you're going to learn the secret to moving your website from page 5 or beyond to page 1. How's that sound, guys? Are you with me? Does this sound like some exciting information? Well, by the end of this webinar, my promise to you is that you'll know why you're not currently ranked at the top of the search engines for your keywords. You'll know why your competitor is, or whoever is on page 1. You'll understand why they're ranked there, and exactly what you need to do to earn that position for yourself. So that's a pretty bold promise. I'm going to make sure that we cover all of these topics throughout the course of the next 45 minutes to an hour. So before we really dive into this information, today's topic is SEO, and I want to start by asking, what is search engine optimization? What is SEO? And the way I define it is SEO is the process of updating and modifying your website and your web presence so that it ranks on page 1 for your most important and profitable keywords. I think you guys would all agree that's the pretty good definition. Now you know what SEO is. So why SEO and why is search engine optimization important? Well, there's been a major transition in the last 5 to 10 years from what used to be referred to as offline to online marketing. It used to be you could have a large ad in the yellow pages, and that was the predominant place that people went when they were looking for your plumbing or HVAC services. So as that transition has taken place, less and less people are going to the yellow pages. And so it begs the question, where are they going? And the reality is, statistics tell us they're going to the internet. More than 77% of consumers go online when they're looking for your plumbing or HVAC services. And we're able to, by looking at historical search data, we're able to ascertain that there are over 20 million searches every single month for plumbing and HVAC related keywords. So if you divide that out by the cities in the United States and Canada internationally, well, that means there's thousands of people every single month searching for plumbing and HVAC services online. And so that's why the opportunity is within SEO and with getting ranked in the internet for your most important keywords. So why do you want to take action on this now? Why is it important that you get your internet marketing strategy in place and start to take action right away? Well, it's because the effectiveness of your traditional marketing is diminishing. And I can't remember who, but somebody at the beginning of the webinar mentioned that they'd like to reduce their overall expense and improve their profitability in their marketing. And so if you're still spending $3,000 or $5,000 or $10,000 in offline print media and you're not dominating the search engines, well, then there's a big opportunity for you to shift those dollars and get a much better return on your investment. The other reason you want to take action right away is because your competitors are already establishing themselves online. They've got great websites. They're optimizing those websites. They're getting online reviews. And so every day that passes that you don't have a strategy in place where you're showing up at the top of the search engines for your keywords is missed opportunity. And we talked about the fact that there are millions of searches every single month. Well, every time somebody searches in your area for your city plus plumber, your city plus air conditioning repair, your city plus heating, and you're not there, they're finding your competition. And they're going to wind up probably calling your competition. So that's why you want to take action and you want to get this internet marketing strategy in place right away. So who am I and why should you be listening to me? Well, my name is Josh Nelson. I'm the author of the Complete Guide to Internet Marketing for Plumbing Contractors. It sells on Amazon.com. I sent every member of the QSC a copy of this book free of charge. So if you didn't get it, please let me know. I'd be glad to send you a copy of the book so you have it for reference. I'm an associate member of the PHCC, QSC, and ACCA. I've spoken at a number of the PHCC, QSC, and other industry events throughout the United States and trained literally hundreds of plumbing and HVAC contractors on how they can be more effectively marketing themselves online. I'm widely accepted as the preeminent expert in internet marketing for plumbing and HVAC contractors. And more importantly, I've had the opportunity to work one-on-one with some of the most successful and most profitable plumbing businesses in the United States and personally help them to go from obscurity online to the point where they now dominate, and many of them are getting hundreds of inbound calls every single month via the web. Tim, I see your question. You need to know how you can get a copy of the book. I will send you an email if I can get it from Charlie, and I'll make sure that you get it in short order. Thank you for your question. So I just want you guys to understand that strategies I'm going to be covering in this presentation work. And so I want to show you a couple examples. If you type in Fort Lauderdale plumber, and I've got the screenshot up on the screen, you'll see that the person in spot 1, position A on the map is Town Plumbing. That's a client that we worked with and helped get that position. If you type in Brooklyn plumber, spot B on the map. If you type in Sarasota plumber, spot A on the map. Type in Toronto plumber. The person at the very top there is a company that we work with. I could show a lot more examples and things like that of screenshots and positions. I don't show that to brag. I really show that to impress upon you that the exact strategies I'm going to be sharing on this 45-minute webinar are the same strategies that went into getting those rankings and to getting these clients these types of results. So if you haven't already, I'm going to encourage you to take out a pen and pad and make sure you're taking notes and make sure that you're getting this stuff because it's really important. So if you don't mind, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about my story and how I came to be the president of Plumber SEO and why I got into internet marketing and search engine optimization for plumbing and HVAC businesses in the first place. You'll see a picture of my family up on the screen. I'm the little guy in the right-hand corner with the sailor suit on. Grew up in a missionary family. My parents actually were missionaries in Haiti, which is an island off the Caribbean. I lived there for about 10 years and then moved to the United States at about 10 years old. I've lived in Miami kind of my entire life since then, and I went to FIU, Florida International University, but I realized at a young age that I had a passion for internet, I had a passion for marketing, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to run my own business, and I wanted to really help people grow their businesses and be successful. So early on, I started a web design and development company right out of high school. And my web development company was going to help get companies online, just local businesses in general. I was going to build websites and host those websites. And I started that business by taking out a loan from my dad. I actually asked my dad to lend me $10,000. And I told you a minute ago that my dad was a missionary. So for him and for my family, $10,000 might as well have been $150,000. It was just a huge investment. And so I took that money and I bought some equipment and I got some additional training and I rented an office. And like most young entrepreneurs, unfortunately, the business was not a success. It actually it was very frustrating. And I think the reason it didn't succeed was because all I was doing was building websites, basically brochureware type sites, and I was setting people up online, but those websites didn't do anything. They didn't drive traffic. They didn't make the phone ring any more often. And so it seemed like I was working so hard, month after month, me and my business partner, and for years we would put in 40, 50-hour weeks and wind up with no money at the end of the day. We couldn't even pay ourselves a salary. I don't know if any of you can relate to that. And after several years, and it was probably one of the toughest things I had to do, I decided to shut the business. And it was tough because I knew my dad had made such a large investment in trying to help me accomplish my goals. And so after that point, I went into corporate America. I got a job in business-to-business sales, and I worked for a couple of different companies. And I was just frustrated because I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur and I knew I wanted to be a successful person, but I really knew my passion was in the internet. It was in working with small, medium-sized businesses and helping them grow their revenues. So I decided if I was going to do that and I needed to make that a reality, I had to figure out the equation that would, first of all, get people to the top of the search engines. Second of all, get that traffic to their website to turn into inbound calls. And so I decided, man, I'm going to make this happen. So I read just about every book I could get my hands on. I, listened to all the webinars. I did all of the trainings. And I got a lot of really good information, a lot of knowledge about how to get a website to rank and how to market a business online. So with that information and with that knowledge, I went back out on my own. I started my own company. And I was fortunate early on to connect with the plumbing business in Fort Lauderdale, which is right up the road from me, about an hour away. And this company was Town Plumbing. I worked with Wes Alcon, and I took all my techniques and all my strategies and I implemented them. I built out his website. I claimed his online directory listings. I started helping him get reviews online, and he quickly got to the top of the search engines for his most important plumbing words. And he relatively quickly went from 2 guys to 4 guys to 8 guys, and his business just skyrocketed, and it was a fantastic success. And so he was so happy with what we did that he started referring us to his friends. And I picked up another company in Miami, another plumbing company, and implemented the same ideas, the same strategies, a little bit better this time around. And he had the similar result. Top of the search engines, growth in his business, lots of inbound calls. And at that moment, I had my eureka moment where I said, you know what? I've got a lot of real-world expertise in this plumbing and HVAC space. And I'm going to build my company just around plumbing and HVAC. I'm going to be the #1 internet marketing service provider to the HVAC and plumbing world. And that's how I started my business, and that's how I came to be Plumber SEO. And since then, I've had the opportunity to work with a number of highly successful plumbing and HVAC companies spread throughout the United States and been able to impact a lot of businesses and a lot of lives. And so you can see at the bottom right-hand corner, I've got a picture of our team up on the screen, and we just love working with plumbing businesses, and we love what we do. So a lot of plumbing and HVAC businesses that I talk with as I speak at various PHCC and QSC events throughout the country are facing similar challenges. They're not getting enough calls from quality customers. They don't have systems in place to capture leads, so they're missing opportunities. They're spending a lot of money and a lot of time on marketing that's not working. And a lot of them have tried just about every trick, tactic, and company with very little results. As a matter of fact, a lot of the plumbing companies and HVAC companies I talk with have hired other SEO companies that came in and made big claims but weren't able to produce the result. And so these challenges are really frustrating. I mean, would you agree? I mean, these are some of the same challenges you're facing in your business. And a lot of them, are missing a coach. They're missing a mentor. They're missing an internet marketing champion that can come in and help them implement strategies that actually generate results. And so that's why I developed the online customer acquisition system, which I will talk a little bit about at the end. It's our complete turnkey internet marketing solution where me and my team will actually implement a complete internet marketing strategy for you. But again, for us and for me personally, it's bigger than just having a successful business and making a lot of money. I truly have a passion for helping plumbing and HVAC businesses accomplish their goals and be more profitable. So let's get started. I want to talk about the 5 steps to getting your plumbing business ranked on page 1 in Google and Yahoo and Bing. So if you've got a pen and pad out, these are the 5 steps. Number 1, you need to understand the search engines. So when you run a search, there are 3 main listings. There's the paid listings, the organic listings, and the map listings. You need to understand the differences between each so that you can implement a strategy around all 3. Number 2, you need to build out your website for all of your services, especially the most profitable ones, and you need to build out pages for your service area. Number 3, you need to optimize the site for search. Number 4, you need to build inbound links and authority. And number 5, you need to create fresh content consistently. You need to be adding new information to the web. So I'm going to be drilling down on each of these in more depth as we go throughout the presentation. And then, of course, the bonus step, once you've got all of this in place, get ready for the phone to ring. Be prepared with your team, ready to answer the calls, be professional, and convert those calls into revenue. So step 1, understanding the search engines. When somebody types in a search for Your City Plus Plumber, or Your City Plus Plumbing, or Your City Plus AC Repair, Your City Plus Heating, they're going to see something like what I've got on the screen right here. And there are 3 sections. There's the pay-per-click or paid listings, there's the organic listings, and there's the map listings. So along the top and along the side, that's the paid area. And the paid area is managed through Google AdWords. And you can set up a Google AdWords account at google.com/AdWords. And it's an advertising play where you can pick the keywords you want to rank for and then bid on a pay-per-click basis for position. And so it's just important for you to note that you can pay for placement in that section on the search engines. And I will be running a separate webinar specifically about how to run a highly effective pay-per-click campaign for your plumbing or HVAC business. The area below that typically is the map, and then on the map you see A, B, C, and D, and E, and you see a little map. Those listings are you're ranked in those listings based on a number of factors. It's based on the quality of your website, the number of citations that you have, the number of reviews that you have. I actually conducted an hour-long, in-depth presentation on how to get ranked in the maps. If you haven't attended that or if you haven't seen that, I would highly encourage you to go to the QSC portal. It's recorded there. You can play that again. And then there's the organic listings. Also, no way to pay for placement in the organic or the map listings. You couldn't call up Google and say, hey, here's $1,000 a month or here's $5,000 a month. Put me in the #1 spot. Doesn't work that way. Google wants to serve the most relevant, most valuable companies in your area, and so you have to earn that by having a well-optimized website. Any questions before I move to the next section on how to optimize and build out your website? Any questions on the differences between the paid, the organic, and the map listings? Okay. Feel free to chime in, guys, if you have questions. So now that you understand the search engines, you need to understand that you need to build out your website. So a typical plumbing and HVAC website, as we see it, is between 5 and 7 pages, or 3 to 5 pages, depending upon which site you're looking at. Home, about us, our services, coupons, contact us. Well, we know, based on our experience in SEO and working with other plumbing and HVAC businesses, that if you want to rank for all of the different keywords that your company does, emergency plumbing and drain cleaning and tankless water heaters, water heater replacement, you have to have a page on your website for each one of those different services. I'm going to explain what I mean by that in a little bit, but suffice it to say, you need to make sure that you build out your website. And then beyond that, you need to make sure that you have pages for the sub-cities that you operate in. So the typical plumbing or HVAC business has between a 35 and 50-mile radius. And so while you have a main city in your area, you also have probably at least 10 to 15 sub-cities that you operate in. And so you want to build out your website so you have pages that are optimized for each of those sub-cities. Are you guys with me? Are you getting this? Perfect. All right. So in order to build out the website, the first thing you want to do is you want to think through what services you have and what keywords people are actually typing in when they need your plumbing services. So I pulled up on the screen a list of the most commonly searched plumbing-related services. And so you've got plumber, plumbing, plumbers, water heaters, bathroom remodeling, tankless water heaters, leak detection, drain cleanings, shower repair, boiler repair. Don't try and write these down. I know Charlie's going to send out a copy of this presentation after the fact, so you will get a copy of this. But the important thing here is that you have to have a thought-through process where you say, okay, what keywords do I need to make sure I've embedded into my website so that I can make sure I rank for them? So the easy way to look at this is look at your site currently. You probably have home, about us, our services, coupons, and contact us. And I'm sure some of you, since this is a QSC webinar, have a lot more than that. And you're probably a couple steps ahead on this. But you want to make sure that when we get to your services page, it's not just a list of services. Like, you might have each of these services mentioned on your site, but you don't have a specific page for it. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to either have a drop-down that lists all your services, or within your services page, have a hyperlink that goes to a separate page for each one of these. So you want to have an emergency plumber page, a leak detection page, a toilet repair page, all of those different things. When you get to the service area and how you can implement a section for your service area on your site, you want to have a page in your navigation structure that either says our service area or areas we serve or something along those lines. And within that section, you want to have a list of the main cities that you operate in so that you can build a page for each one of those cities. And so I pulled up an image here that you guys can look at, and this would be, if you go over service area section, you can have a drop down for each one of your cities, and then actual additional content for each of those cities combined with each of your services. So this is a good way to make sure that you've got a page on your website, first of all, for all of your services, especially your most profitable services, but then in addition, a page for each one of the cities that you operate in, possibly even combined with each one of those services. Feel free to chime in with questions, guys. I know I'm gonna try and cover this as quickly as I can. So I just want to give you an example of how this plays out in the real world. So I'm going to tell you a story about a client we work with in Tampa, and this is Philip Marisi of the Clean Plumbers. When he started with us, he was a big-time Yellow Page advertiser. He had, he's probably either a full page or a double truck in that market. Over several years, he developed a pretty sizable business just from that angle. He recognized early on that there was a transition from offline to online and set up a website, hired an internet marketing company that promised to get him ranked at the top of the search engines, sat on it for a couple months, maybe even a year, was not getting any result. He wasn't getting calls, he wasn't ranked well, and then we were able to connect with him, and we implemented these same strategies I'm explaining here. We built out the websites, we had pages for each of his services, and he went from 15 calls a month via the internet to 147 calls per month. And the exact quote from Philip Marisi was, prior to getting started with Plumber SEO, we were only getting a few calls a month via the internet. In September of this year, we tracked 147 inbound calls directly via the internet. How many of you would like to get 147 calls any month from the internet? And I can tell you, at this point, he actually averages between 120 and 150 calls every single month. We do have call tracking on the website, so we can actually gauge, without any question, how many calls are actually coming in. So, on to step 3. You need to optimize the pages on your website for search. So once you've built out all of these pages on your website, and you've got the pages for your services, and you've got the pages for your service cities, the next thing you need to do is you need to optimize those pages in a way that when Google comes across it, it understands what the page is all about and can put you in the index for the right keywords. Does this make sense? So I'm actually going to share with you exactly what Google looks at in order to determine what keywords you should be ranked for. So I'm going to show visual representation of this, but just high level. You need to have a unique title tag. I'm going to show you what a title tag is in a second. A unique title tag for each of your pages. You want to have your H1 tag reinstate that same exact keyword. When you have images on your website, you want to name those images by your keywords, and you want to use an alt tag attribution to help Google understand what it is, because an image on your page looks pretty, and it might even say exactly what you want it to say, but Google can't read the image. It's going to read the tagging behind the image. So you want to name your images. You want to have your URLs contain your keyword, and by that I'm not saying you want to go out and buy yourcityplumber.com. That's not even necessary. I much prefer your company name be your domain. But for your subpages, so for your emergency plumbing page, you might want to call that URL yourcompany.com/yourcityemergencyplumber. So you want to get your keywords into the URLs. You want to implement anchor text. So let's say on your services page, you can have a list of your services, but have each one of those services hyperlinkable to the page. That helps Google follow that page and know what that page is about. And this part's going to be a little confusing, guys. I apologize. I'm going to try and make it as clear as possible, but then I'm going to go into some more specifics on the most important things for you to do. You want to set up an XML sitemap and submit it to Google Webmaster Tools and to Bing Webmaster Tools. And an XML sitemap is just a list of the pages on your website in an XML format. You can submit it to Google at Webmaster Tools or Bing at Bing Webmaster Tools. And what that does is, let's say you added 150 pages to your website. So you have every one of your cities and every one of your services. In order to help Google find all of those pages, if you submit the sitemap, they'll know that all those pages exist on your site. So I like to explain what I'm talking about here as clear as possible, and I want to make sure you understand the 80-20 rule. So there are literally hundreds of factors that go into on-page optimization, but Pareto's principle tells us 20% of activities can generate 80% of the result. So I want you guys to focus on the 20% that are going to drive the 80% result. So title tag. If you don't make any other changes to your website based on this webinar, I want you to go back and update your title tags. And a title tag is really just that little bar that's at the very top of the web screen. And if you're looking at a screen right now, I've got an image of it with an arrow pointing to it. That's your title tag. That's like if you look at a book, every page on your website would be the title of the book. And so Google's looking at that title as a very specific indicator of what your website and what that page is all about. So as I look at this, a lot of plumbing companies and HVAC companies put their company name and the title tag on their home page. Your home page is the most authoritative page on your website. So you want to put your keywords as far to the left in your title tag as possible. So if your title right now reads your company, Joe's Plumbing, and you want to rank for, let's just say, Orlando Plumber, then you need to get the keyword Orlando Plumber in the title tag before your company name. And so below the image, I've got an example of a good title tag would be Orlando Plumber, Shamrock Plumbing, let's say it's the name of your company, and then another service like Orlando Repiping or Orlando Emergency Plumbing or Orlando Plumbing Services. And then you want to do that on each of the pages of your website. So as you start to look at your sub-pages, for instance, your emergency plumbing page, that's going to be a different page, and the title tag on that page should read something like Orlando Emergency Plumbing, 24-hour emergency plumber in Orlando. And then the water heater page should have a title tag of Orlando Water Heater Repair Services in Orlando. I'm just giving you some examples because I find that when I hear real examples, I start to say, okay, this is what I can do with my title tags. The drain cleaning page should have a title tag something like Orlando Drain Cleaning Service in Orlando, Florida. So it's real important that you get the idea. If you don't do anything else, you go back to your title tags and you update them so they have your keywords with your city in it. Don't just put drain cleaning or water heaters or plumbing service. Include your city, your main city, in those pages. You guys with me? Is this making sense? I apologize if I went in a little too technical there, but I want to cover this as good as I can. H1 tag. So the H1 tag is also a very important indicator to Google about what your page is about. And so I've got a screenshot of the H1 tag. The H1 tag in HTML code is just something that tells Google what the page is about. So in this case, you see it says Orlando Plumber. You want to have an H1 tag that's specific to the keyword for each of your pages. So your drain cleaning page would be Orlando Drain Cleaning. I think you get the idea. You also, just as a ninja strategy, and I'm sure some of you guys would love to hear a ninja strategy, embed a heat map on your website, especially on the home page and the sub-city pages. So a heat map is just a map based on metadata that you can embed that will it'll show a map of your area, and it will show where your technicians are checking in. I'll talk a little bit about how you can automate that through a tool called Nearby Now, but Getting a heat map like this on the page gives Google a lot of geo-specific information so that they understand better what your page is all about. And then for your sub-city pages, one of the challenges and one of the things I see happen a lot is that a lot of companies have kind of taken the bull by the horns and they built out sub-city pages. So they got a page for City 1, City 2, City 3, City 7, City 10, etc. But every single page is identical. And that's exactly the opposite of what we want to accomplish here. Google does not like duplicate content. So if every page is exactly the same, that's going to be problematic. So one easy way to make each of your city pages unique is to have an embedded heat map based on the check-ins that your guys are doing, and there's mobile technology to automate this. Now your sub-city page has a lot of original hyper-local content. So that's a ninja strategy that you can implement in your business. So you need to optimize your website, and when we say optimize, we're talking about specifically the title tags, the H1 tags, the actual content on the page, the naming of the images, the URL structure, all of that stuff. Feel free to chime in with questions on this. I know that some of this is a little technical. So just to give you another example of how this plays out in the real world, Southwest Plumbing is a company that we work with in Miami, Florida. When he started with us, he had set up his own website kind of all by himself. It was a website tonight type of deal. He spent a lot of time on it. It did not rank very well. He wasn't getting very much business via the internet, so he wanted us to come in. And the reason I share this example is because it's all based on the concept of building out these additional pages and how that helps. So here's what he said. He goes, I now have prominent placement for the keywords that are most important to me. And this is a commercial plumbing contractor that also does residential service. Miami commercial plumber, Miami commercial plumbing contractor, Miami plumber, plumber in Miami, Miami tankless water heater, Miami water heater installation, Miami gas contractor, Miami gas line installation, and many others. And the idea I want to emphasize here is as you build out these pages and you optimize them correctly, they will rank very well in the search engines. And ranking them well in search engines generates inbound calls. You'd be amazed that the Miami gas line installation, Miami gas line repair, drives a lot of business for him. It's probably the only website on the internet that's really focusing on that angle. So that's why you want to build out for your profitable services. Build out the repiping page. Build out the trenchless sewer replacement page. Build out the services that are going to drive high transaction value. So this webinar isn't about Google Maps optimization, but I would be remiss if I didn't at least cover from a high level some of the tactics that go into getting ranked on the map, because it's extremely important. It's one of the most commonly asked questions that I get from plumbing and HVAC contractors throughout the United States, which is how do I get on the map? So if you want more details on this, go back to the webinar that I recorded. It's a whole hour just on Google Maps optimization strategy, but there are really three core components to getting your company ranked on the Google map. The first is to claim and optimize your Google Places listing. The second is to have consistency with your name, address, and phone number across the web. So what I mean by that, you need to make sure that your name, address, and phone number is referenced the same way on Angie's List as it is on City Search, as it is on Judy's Book, as it is on Best of the Web, and all of those other online directories. Google's looking for consistency. So if you're using a different tracking number in each one of those online directories, it's significantly hurting your probability of ranking on the map. The third critical component is real reviews from your real customers in your true service area. So you want to have a process in your business where you're systematically thanking your customers for their business and asking them to write reviews for you online. And so if you haven't already, go to google.com/places. This is the starting point for getting ranked on the Google map. If somebody's done this for you, I'd encourage you to ask them, hey, listen, I know you claimed my map listing. I need that username and password. So you can just go in and double check to make sure they haven't done anything that would harm you in some way. But you want to control your Google Places listing. You want to have access to that username and password. From there, establish your online directory listings. Make sure you're in Angie's List and Being Local and City Search and Judy's Book. There's about 150 online directories you want to make sure that you're in. And the essential part here, especially for you higher-end QSC members, is consistency. You're probably in all of these places, but there's inaccuracy on those listings. So you want to go back in and make sure that they're correct. And then you need reviews from your real customers in your real service area. So Another example, and Greg, I do see your question. I'm going to get to that as soon before I go to the next step. Petrie Plumbing is a company that we work with in Brooklyn, New York. Prior to working with us, they were big time. Actually, they had invested a lot in search engine optimization and internet marketing. They were actually paying about double what we charge. And when I came in and I kind of presented what we could do, they were a little nervous because they were spending a lot more and weren't getting the result that they wanted. But Mike and Jeannie actually told me that it's the best business decision that they've made for their plumbing business. They go, we now have page 1, spot A position on Google for our most important keyword, Brooklyn Plumber, and get traffic and phone calls from customers who found us online typing a variety of keywords. Working with Plumber SEO is the best decision I've ever made. And that's a bold claim, and I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to take a little question break here. I've got a couple pending. So Greg wants to know, is there a way to find out the most commonly searched keywords for an industry in our area other than Google Trends? Yes, there's a great tool that you can use, and it's actually free. There's a lot of paid tools, but a good free one, you can write this down, is go to Google and type in Google Keyword Tool. And it's actually driven by Google AdWords. And when you go to the Google Keyword Tool, you can type in plumber, plumbing contractor, and Google has tons of data. They'll show you all of the keywords. They'll spit out the search volume for each of those keywords. You can sort by that. You can export it into Excel. And you can take what I'm talking about to the next level, even though we've done a heck of a lot of research on this. But if you want to get your own data, absolutely, you can use Google Keyword Search Tool or Google Keyword Tool. Greg, I hope that answers your question. Kirsten, I'm sorry, I think I might have said your name wrong early, Kirsten. Is it worth paying a service that will update those online directories? I would be careful with that. So it's worth paying if you can find a quality provider that can do it for you and make sure that it's done correctly. There are a number of services out there that will do it, and they'll say they'll do it for $50 or $100. And what they have is a mechanism where they can take the information, press a button, and publish out to all of the online directories. And it's kind of a quick fix for the ones you're not in. The challenge is with larger organizations that have been in business for some period of time, you already exist in a lot of these online directory listings. So there's a manual process that needs to take place where you log into Angie's List and you log into City Search and you log into Best of the Web and you log into each of these places and you make sure that the information is correct. So is it worth paying? Absolutely. Be careful with the mass distribution type services. It's one of those things you really do get what you pay for. Kristen, I hope that answers your question. All right, so now let's talk about the secret sauce for getting ranked in the search engines. So let's just say you built out your website. You've got each of your pages. They're optimized to the hill. You've got the right title tags. You've got the right URL structure. You've got your images with the right keywords. You've got a heat map. All of that is great, but it's not going to mean that you rank page 1, spot 1, or even on the first page for any of those keywords. All it means is that you're going to be in the index for the right words. The secret to getting ranked on page 1 for each of those different pages now is to get inbound links and to build the authority for your domain name. The way I like to look at it is 30% of the battle is getting your website right. So once your website's right with the right title tags and the right H1 tags and the right images and the right content, 70% of the battle still has to be fought. And that battle is building the authority. And he who has the most quality inbound links wins. And that's again where I'm going to say you don't want to just pay some service to get a bunch of inbound links to your site, because quality is more important than quantity. You could have 1,000 garbage links that would probably hurt you more than having 10 really good links. And I'm going to share some great strategies for getting links. Steve, is there a comprehensive listing we can get for online directories? Absolutely. I will share with Charlie after the session is over. I'll send him a resource that we created, and we'll make it available to you free of charge, where it just lists out the most important directories that you want to be in. How does that sound, Steve? Sounds good. All right. So how do you get links? How do you build those links which are going to which are going to help you rank better on the search. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Kristen, good to me too. I'm gonna make sure that Charlie sends it out to everybody that's on the webinar, so you guys will all get that list. Charlie, remind me to send that to you. All right. So how do you build the authority for the domain, and how do you get the inbound links? Well, there's a number of places that you can go to get real, authentic links. And the way I like to say it is, start with the low-hanging fruit. Go to the online directories. Right. Every one of those directories is a place where you can have a link. Go to the social media profiles, Facebook, Twitter, Google+, LinkedIn. They're all free. When you list yourself there, that's an authoritative link that points back to your website. Go to your associations like the PHCC and the QSC and the other networking groups, Chamber of Commerce that you're in. Most of them have a website with a directory where you can post your listing. That creates a link back to your website. It's also a citation, which is important for getting ranked in the map listings. But probably the most consistent source of inbound links that you can tap into is content creation. And so content creation is writing articles, creating videos, creating audios, creating how-tos, and then taking that content and uploading it to online directory sites like This Old Home and eZine Articles and other places that like to have this type of information. And most of these places will let you post your content for free. So you can write an article about the differences between a tanked and tankless water heater, for instance, and you can upload it to ehow.com. That article then is on their site, which is an authoritative site. And then in the bio box, where you get to write a little bit about yourself and share who you are and what you do, well, you link back to your website. But what I want you to do when you create this content is don't link it back to your homepage only. You can definitely link it to your homepage, but also have a link back to a specific page on your site that you need to rank better. So you created a page for water heaters. Why not type in, for more information on the Tampa water heater installation experts, go here. And then the keyword with anchor text is Tampa water heater experts, links back to your page. But you need to be doing this on a constant basis. You need to be creating content, you need to be publishing it, and then getting those links back is what gets you to rank better in the search engines. So this is just a visual representation of these links. So up at the top, we've got City Search and Yelp and Judy's Book, your online directory listings. Over to the side, we've got your directories and your associations like QSC and PHCC and BNI if you're involved in networking. On the side, we've got your affiliate plumbing businesses that you're friends with, maybe in other cities or in other areas. Ask them to add a link back to your website. That's a relevant website that's probably got a lot of authority that can link back to you. Go to your suppliers, and this is one you might not think of, but if you buy from Moen or you buy from American Standard, a lot of them are willing to give you a link back to your website because you're such a loyal customer, you buy products directly from them. Go to your social media profiles. Again, I talked about Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and LinkedIn, Pinterest. Each of those has the opportunity not just to have a link in your profile, but as you post content to those social profiles, you can add links. Chamber of Commerce, supply houses, as you create blog content, all of these are great sources for inbound links. But how many of you would like me to share a ninja strategy for getting inbound links? A way to get really high quality links that are going to help move the needle to move you up in the search engines. So a really technical strategy that works extremely well is what I call competitive link acquisition. Competitive link acquisition is the process of going to the search engine, typing in your city plus plumber, your city plus plumbing, your city plus AC repair, and then seeing who's in the top position. And if we know that the guy that's in the top position is there because he has an optimized website with more quantity and quality of inbound links, then if we can figure out what links he has and get those same links pointed back to our website, over time we can outrank him. So competitive link acquisition is the process of doing that. Going to the search engine, typing in your city plumber. There are tools like Majesty SEO, like SEO Book. You can just type in the URL of that guy that's in the top spot, get a list of the links that are pointed to his site, and get those same or similar links. I mean, it's not automatically going to happen that you get those links, but once you know where they are, you can say, okay, he's got an article on the Wall Street Journal. Well, how did he do that? Well, he must have written a good piece of content, pitched it, and got it picked up. He's got an article. He's got a link from the Tampa Gazette. How do I get that? Write an article and submit it there. He's got a link from the Chamber of Commerce. Well, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Go to the Chamber of Commerce and add yourself to that. And by doing that on a consistent basis, it's a real good way to outrank your competition. Good or good. Guys, I'm giving you the exact formula, exactly what we do on a daily basis to get our clients to the top of the search engines. So just another example. This is a company that we work with in Las Vegas, Troy Winkle. He was a big-time advertiser. He played with Reach Local and Yodel. He tried all of these folks, had very dismal results. He got calls. They weren't generating enough revenue to justify it. We implemented our program, and he says, I'm averaging over 178 inbound calls per month directly via the internet so far this year. How would you guys like to get 178 inbound calls via the internet? Would that have a pretty big impact on your business? So you have to be consistently creating content. So I talked about this in the link building. You also want to have a blog where you're posting your content. A lot of people get hung up on this, and they say, oh, well, you know what? How the heck am I going to come up with content? I'm a plumber. I do a plumbing business, or I'm an AC contractor. Well, you are a subject matter expert. There is knowledge in your head that your competition simply doesn't have or simply doesn't know. So you know things about the differences between PVC and copper piping. You know the differences between tanked and tankless water heaters. Create content around that. And it doesn't have to just be writing. You can create videos, you can record audios, you can create all kinds of content and then post it to your blog and syndicate it online. Google loves fresh content. It loves unique content. So you need to be doing that on a consistent basis. So Greg has a question. Say the name of the app that helps with competitive link acquisition. Okay, there are a couple tools. Most of these are paid. Majesty SEO. That's Majesty, as in Your Majesty, SEO, search engine optimization. Use that tool. It's got a great database of links. So you can type in your competitor's URL and figure out what links they have and get those same or similar links. The other is SEO Book. They have a suite of tools available. I'll tell you, there's probably 100 different resources where you could do this. Those are two that we recommend, that we actually use on our own. I do not believe I have time to talk much about social media, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'll do a completely separate webinar that talks specifically about how to harness the power of social media. The only thing I'll say is social media gives you the ability to get more repeat and referral business if you use it correctly. Your number one source of business should be repeat and referral business. If you can have an active strategy to get your real customers to press the like button, to press the subscribe button, to press the follow button, and then you're posting there on an ongoing basis, you're going to remain top of mind, which gets more repeat business, and you're going to have access to their sphere of influence, which creates more referral business. Average Facebook user has 135 friends and is checking Facebook 6 to 7 times a day. So if you can get one of your customers to press like, by virtue of that like, they've just exposed you to 135 of their friends. So I think you get the power. There's a ton of potential in social media. So I just want to show another example here. This is a company we work with in Orlando. I'm just going to play this.
Hi, my name is Mark with Shamrock Plumbing. You know, a lot of companies rely on getting the word out there, making themselves known so that people will call and use their services. Over the last few years while we've been in business, we've used different companies to get us up on the web and do our web pages and basically get us on the search engines. And I've tried different companies, and some companies have worked and some companies haven't. I found a company right now that are doing basically all the stuff that I used to do and I used to want to get done on my website. A company called Plumbing SEO. Excuse me, Plumbers SEO. Basically, they build my website, they do all my search engine optimization, and they're basically there when I need them. They won't do anything unless they run it past me first, so I kind of have a hand in everything that's going on. When they started, my ranking in different keywords was pretty low, maybe in the sort of 50, 80, which puts me on the second and third page. And they basically said, you know what, let us go on it, let us do the website, we'll create pages and do everything we want to do, and let's see how we get on. Well, in the last 2 months, I've gone from page 3 all the way up to page 1, where I'm up on the map section and everything else. They've helped me with the videos. I will basically make videos and they'll help me post them, and we're getting views on those videos and everything's working. These guys are amazing. Give them a try. The one thing that I thought was great was, before I started, they said, you know what, we'll work with you, but we'll also make a promise with you not to work with another competitor in your area, which is great. It means that I don't have to worry about, my competitor going up to the same guys, and basically now I'm competing against more people in the same area. But these guys are outstanding. Give them a call. I'll put a link at the bottom of this video, and see what you think. Okay, talk to Josh. They're amazing. Once again, it's Mark with Shamrock Plumbing. Also, if you actually need to call us, you can get us at 407-292-8881, or on the web at shamrockplumbingfl.com.
All right, I hope you guys can hear that. I'm just going to share a couple other success stories, a couple examples of how this plays out in the real world. Jim Wagner is a company that we work with in Naperville, Illinois, right outside Plainville, right outside of Chicago. Again, he had invested a lot in internet marketing companies, got dismal results, was very disappointed, decided he was going to learn this entire trade on his own. Figured, I'm going to do this myself. So he went out, he learned how to set up a website, he learned a little bit about search engine optimization, and he went to bat. And he was just beating his head against the wall. He felt real frustrated, wasn't getting much business via the internet. And here's what he said. He said, I've been in a plumbing professional for over 20 years and can honestly say Josh Nelson and the whole Plumber SEO crew is the first company that gets it. They get my business, understand my competition, and have innovative ideas to help my company grow. I've hired other SEO companies before and always ended up disappointed. With Josh, Dean, and Norton, I feel like they work with me. I'm not just another client. They deliver strong results and are never too busy to talk with me. I've seen my business steadily grow every month since hiring Plumber SEO. I'm not one to write testimonials, but because of this testimonial on their site, I decided to give them a try. It was the best investment I've made in my business to date. How many of you guys would like to have an investment that you know returns and it's going to work out in a way that actually makes a difference? Just another example, a company we work with out of the Falls Church, Virginia area, plumbing doctor. This is what they had to say. They had been with the Yellow Book. They spent a lot of time. They were big-time Yellow Book advertisers. As Yellow Book stopped producing, the sales reps came in and told them, hey, look, you know what? We can do internet marketing for you. And they sold them an internet package. And it was just disappointing. They're making a huge investment, getting very little results. And what they said was, we've been working with Plumber SEO since the beginning of 2012 and have been very pleased with the service. Prior to working with them, we'd attempted to have Yellow Book run our internet marketing efforts with very little success. Josh and the Plumber SEO crew came in with a proactive internet marketing strategy that included a revamped website, SEO, map optimization, and social media. Since getting started with them, we've seen a significant increase in our placement on the search engines and hold the top spot for Falls Church Plumber, as well as a number of highly competitive keywords in our area. If you're looking to take your plumbing business to the next level online, then I'd highly recommend Plumber SEO. So, how many of you are ready to take your business to the next level? How would you like to have our team implement a complete internet marketing strategy on your behalf? How many of you feel like you got value out of the last 55 minutes? And I hope all of you did, because I really did share with you how to build out your website, the pages that you need to have, how you can optimize your website. So if it's okay with you, I'd just like to share a little bit about how we can manage this process for you. We've developed what we call the online customer attraction system that's designed to help you dominate Google in your area, get more inbound calls, more booked calls in terms of service, more repeat and referral business, and ultimately more freedom, because as you have more revenue, as you have marketing strategies that work, you have more time and less wasted energy. Included in what we can bring to the table is a completely revamped, ready-to-profit website. I know some of you are in different places. Some of you have invested a lot in your website. You feel that it's great, and you like the look and the feel. You like the content. That's fine. Well, we can work with that existing website. Others of you need a brand new website. And the reason we did this is because we find a lot of the plumbing businesses and HVAC businesses need a new site. So we built out a brand new, completely customized version of the site with content that's written to convert. It's fully scalable in a Web 2.0 format, so we can plug in a blog, we can plug in social media, and we can make sure we add the right pages so that it can have all the right content. We make sure you've got an automated customer capture system where your customers or your prospects can easily enter their content information, and you can get those leads that you can convert and call. We're going to make sure you get more calls for your most profitable services by implementing the strategy I talked about, by building out pages for each of your services, including the most profitable ones like trenchless sewer replacement and repiping and tankless water heaters. We're also going to build out all of those pages for each of one of your sub-cities so that you've got a complete strategy to rank for all of the keywords that are most important to your plumbing business. We're going to make sure you get found on the map by implementing our comprehensive Google Maps optimization strategy, making sure that you're properly claimed, that your online directory listings are consistent with the right name, address, and phone number across the web. And then we're going to implement a strategy to help you automate the way that you get reviews from your real customers in your real service area. I talked about this on the Google Maps optimization webinar, but ultimately it's a tool that runs on your team's mobile devices, either their iPhone, their Android, their iPad, or even other mobile devices. As they're in the field, they'll check in. That check-in will then get posted to your website on the home page and on the sub-city pages. That helps create fresh content and help Google understand your true service area. But then after the service, they'll enter another button and the customer will get an email thanking them for their business and asking them to write a review, making it real easy for them to write reviews on Google, on City Search, on Angie's List, on the places where we know reviews are important. Having this process systematized in your business will change everything. We're going to do the link building and content development for you. So we talked about making sure you have the links. The links are what make the site rank. We're going to make sure that you've got the directory links, the article links. We're going to do that competitive link acquisition. We've got the tools, we've got the technology where we can figure out where your top competitor is ranked, where their links are coming from, and get those same or similar links pointed back to you. We're going to become your ghostwriters. I know a lot of you are worried about coming up with content. So we'll come up with the content. We'll come up with the articles, we'll write the articles, we'll post and syndicate those articles, and we'll make sure that your domain gets the authority and ultimately the better ranking. We're also going to set up a complete social media referral system for you, which ultimately is us setting up Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and LinkedIn, making sure that those profiles are active. A lot of you already have them, making sure that they're branded with your company's look and feel. And then we're going to become your social media marketing team. So you should be posting to social media on a daily basis. Let our team handle it. We'll come into your social media profiles, we'll post the updates, we'll post the information, which again is essential for getting more repeat and referral business. Then we're going to implement the proven results tracking system. No internet marketing strategy makes sense if you can't track the results. So we're going to put keyword tracking in place at the beginning of our relationship. What we do is we develop an inventory of those keywords, your city plus your services, and then we're going to track it. On a weekly basis, you'll get a report that shows where you're ranking on Google, Yahoo, and Bing for your most important keywords, so you can easily see how that's trending in the right direction. We're going to track analytics so we can see how many visitors got to the website, what they typed in to get there. More importantly, we're going to put call tracking in place. I showed some examples of other companies where they knew that they were getting 100, 150 calls every single month via the web. The reason they know that is because there's call tracking on the website. So we'll put a unique tracking phone number in the graphics on the website so it doesn't interfere with your name, address, and phone number in the map optimization piece. It'll ring to your office just like it always does, but this will give us the ability to know exactly how many calls came in, hear recordings of those conversations, and get true ROI accountability, which I think is critical for tracking your true return on investment. So if you look at our program and you look at all of the components that are built into it, you'll see that it comes out to a real-world value of about $23,697. And I want to ask you just one question. If all this service did, having us implement this for you, if all it did was help you get $150,000 to $200,000 in new business in the next year, would it be worth the investment? Absolutely. If all the system did was help get you to the top of the search engines, fully optimized with a social media marketing plan in place where you could get more repeat and referral business and get your phone ringing day after day, would it be worth the investment? Absolutely. If all it did was help you take your mind off of your marketing strategy help you not have to worry about who you're going to hire next to try and do your internet stuff so that you could just go about your business and enjoy your life, would it be worth the investment? Absolutely. So I just want you to know we only work with one plumber in each city. So obviously a lot of the major cities throughout the United States are already taken. So if you're interested, the way that we break this down is we don't charge $23,000. We don't have a large upfront investment. We actually break it down into a monthly program because we know that effective internet marketing, effective search engine optimization requires an ongoing effort. We have to be creating content on a monthly basis. We have to be driving inbound links on a monthly basis. We have to be posting and engaging on social media on a monthly basis. So we'll manage everything I discussed, the website, the maps, the review acquisition system for just $18.90 per month. No long-term commitment. Everything is yours to keep. It's just $18.90 per month. So if this sounds good and you think it would be of benefit to dominate the search engine in your area and you'd like exclusive rights to this in your city, assuming the city's available, I'd like to ask you to go ahead right now and call 866-610-4647, or you have my permission to go to plumberseo.net/apply. Go to that URL, type in your company's information. We'll get back to you immediately, like within the day, let you know if the city's available and that we can get started right away. So, quick, fast action bonus. How many of you guys want a fast action bonus? Mobile sites are really important. There's more and more consumers are accessing the internet on their mobile devices. As a matter of fact, 77% of consumers are accessing the web via mobile devices. So it's important that you have a completely customized mobile version of your site that's ready to rank in mobile and can convert those customers that are accessing you via their iPhone or their Android device. For those of you that take action today and submit your application today, we are going to include the mobile site completely optimized, completely built out for you with the program. So again, the complete program, all done for you, only $18.90 per month. Just go to plumberseo.net/apply. And for those of you, I just want to say how much I appreciate all of you staying on the call. The retention through my whole sales pitch here has been great, so I really appreciate you guys staying with me. How many of you would like to get the program for free? How many of you would like to get the first month for free where we'll set up the website and do the optimization? Absolutely. So I would imagine that each and every one of you knows other plumbing or HVAC contractors in your area that could benefit from having us implement the most comprehensive internet marketing strategy in the market. To get the first month for free, all you have to do is refer us to one friend that signs up for our service. They sign up for the service, your first month is on the house, completely free of charge. So again, in order to get started, all you have to do right now is go to plumberseo.net/apply or call us. You can call us directly. We are actually available to take the call at 866-610-4647.